Once upon a time, in the faraway kingdom of Umunze, there lived an old queen mother whose husband, the great King Ukuro, had long gone to join the ancestors. She had only one child, a beautiful daughter named Amara, whose skin shone like ripe palm fruit and whose voice was soft as evening rain. The queen loved Amara deeply, for she remembered her of the king who had passed. When Amara came of age, she was promised to marry Prince Obina, son of a powerful ruler from the distant land of Allah. The wedding would unite their kingdoms. So, when the day came for her to travel, the queen mother packed many treasures for her daughter: beads of coral and ivory, gold bracelets, carved calabashes filled with precious oils, and bright woven clothes. "My daughter," the queen said, "may your journey be smooth like a calm river, and may the spirits of our ancestors walk beside you." She also chose a maidservant named Chioma to accompany Amara and care for her along the way. Before they left, the queen mother pricked her finger with a sharp cowrie shell. 3 drops of her blood fell upon a white cloth. She folded it and gave it to her daughter. "Keep this close to your heart," she whispered. "Whenever danger comes, remember that your mother's spirit is with you." With tears and blessings, she waved goodbye as Amara mounted her horse, Ekweme, a wise old steed known in the village for his power to speak the language of humans. Chioma followed behind on her smaller horse, and together they rode down the dusty path that led to Ala River. The sun climbed high, and the red earth shimmered. Amara grew thirsty. She turned to Chioma and said gently, "My sister, please fetch me some water from that stream." Chioma frowned. "If you are thirsty, fetch it yourself. I am no slave to anyone." Amara said nothing. She dismounted, knelt by the river bank, and drank with her hands. As she drank, her tears fell into the water. "Oh, spirits, if my mother knew this, her heart would break in two." Ekweme the talking horse heard every word, but said nothing. Later, when the day grew hotter, they reached another river. Again, Amara asked Chioma for help, and again, Chioma replied sharply, "If you want water, fetch it yourself." Amara bent over the stream to drink, and as she did, the white cloth with her mother's blood slipped from her chest and floated away. Chioma saw it and smiled wickedly. Without her mother's charm, Amara had lost her protection. At once, Chioma's voice changed. "Take off your dress. You are no longer a princess. I am. From this moment, I am Amara, and you are my servant. Swear before the sky and earth that you will tell no one of this, or you will die." Amara, frightened and alone in the wilderness, whispered, "I swear." Ekweme neighed in sorrow. He had seen all that happened. Chioma climbed onto Ekweme's back, and the true princess had to walk on barefoot, looking tattered. Together, they traveled until they reached the great palace of Allah. When they arrived at the palace, Prince Obina came out smiling, and he welcomed Chioma from the horse, believing she was the princess he had been promised. The true Amara stood quietly in the courtyard, her clothes dusty and her head bowed. The old king of Allah, who was Obina's father, looked down from his balcony and saw the girl. Her beauty and grace caught his attention. He went to his son and asked, "My child, who is that maiden you brought with you?" "Oh," Chioma said quickly. "Oh, she's just a servant I met on the road. Let her help with the palace chores." The king nodded. "Then she will work with the goat trader, a young man named Chika, who tends the royal goats near the forest edge." But Chioma feared that Ekweme might expose her secret. She begged the prince, "My dear husband-to-be, that horse displeased me on our journey. Please have him killed." Obina agreed, and Ekweme was condemned to die. When Amora saw this, her heart broke. Each morning from the wind, she would hear Ekweme's faint voice reply, "Be patient, daughter of the queen. the truth cannot hide forever. In the farm, while the goats fed, Amara would sit beneath a palm tree talking to the goats, grasses, and the wind. This happened every day until Chika grew astonished and ran to the old king. "Your Majesty," Chika said, "I can no longer herd goats with that girl. Strange things happen when she's near. The wind obeys her. She talks to a horse's head nailed to the gate. She talks to grasses and goats too." The old king's eyes narrowed. Spirits do not visit without reason. Tomorrow, take her out again. I will follow quietly." The next morning, the king followed Amara unnoticed. He hid behind the palm tree at the farm. He heard Amara whisper to the goats and grasses. He watched her speak to the wind and the trees. The old man returned to the palace in silence. That evening, he called her secretly. "My child, tell me the truth. Who are you?" Tears filled her eyes. "I cannot, my king. I swore under the open sky never to tell." "Then speak your sorrow to that old clay pot by the hearth. Tell it everything." Amara knelt by the pot and whispered, "I am the daughter of the Queen of Umunze. My servant betrayed me, stole my clothes, and took my place. She rides my horse and sleeps in my chambers. If my mother knew this, her heart would break in two." The old king, listening behind the door, heard every word. He called for his son. "Obina, my son, the woman you call bride is a liar. The true princess is this girl, the one tending goats." Obina looked and saw the truth in Amara's eyes. At once, the king ordered that Amara be dressed in fine wrappers of red and gold, her hair braided with coral beads. When she entered the hall, even the moonlight seemed to bow. Chioma, seeing her, turned pale but said nothing. That evening a great feast was held. The old king raised his voice and asked a riddle before all. "My daughter-in-law," he said, pretending not to know, "what punishment should be given to a woman who deceives her master and steals another's place?" Chioma laughed proudly. "Such a woman should be stripped of her pride and sent away in shame, never to return." The king's voice thundered, "You have judged yourself." Chioma fell to her knees begging for mercy, but the spirits had already spoken. She was banished from the land, never to be seen again. That night, drums echoed through Allah as Prince Obina married his true bride, Amara of Umunze. The people danced under the moonlight and sang, "Truth may hide like a tortoise in its shell, but one day it will surely come out to the sun." And so, peace returned to both kingdoms, and Amara ruled beside Obina with kindness and wisdom. And that is how the tale was told by the elders of Umunze, a story of betrayal, patience, and truth that can never die.